Good morning. My name is Edward Stone, and I'm special counsel to the Association of BellTel Retirees. I'm very proud to have been associated with this robust organization for the past decade. I'm also very excited about this being the 25th annual meeting and the 25th anniversary of this association. This association has been a pioneer and a model for retiree associations all over the world. They haven't just been advocates, they've been leaders on key issues. They've been proxy warriors on issues like executive compensation. And I'm very proud to continue my partnership with this association in the creation of a new retiree advocacy group called Retirees for Justice, which I created in partnership with the Association of BellTel Retirees to combat the ongoing assault on retiree earned benefits. And that's what we're here to talk about today. But first and foremost, we've seen a real attack on earned benefits. And it started with healthcare, and it really started with reservation of rights clauses that got inserted into plan documents. And those reservation of rights clauses were really sneaky. What they really said was the company reserves the right to amend or terminate or change a plan at any time. And when they were first written, nobody thought all that much about it. But what's happened over time is reservation of rights means elimination of rights. And so that's what started this kind of onslaught against retiree benefits. Companies found out that they could kick retirees to the curb and nobody was going to do anything about it. So that's where we come in. As all of you know, I'm sure, healthcare costs are on the rise. Pharmaceutical drug costs are on the rise, but your benefits are stagnant. And now, for those of you who've been de-risked into a group annuity contract, you're never going to see a cost of living increase. In fact, the contracts themselves prohibit it. More and more companies are transferring their pensions into group annuity contracts. And that's one of the key issues that we address on a regular basis. The growth of pension risk transfer has been enormous. In fact, some would say staggering. Since I started tracking this in 2012, right around the time that the Verizon deal was getting finalized, more than $190 billion in pension liabilities has been transferred into the hands of a select group of insurance companies. And that's a concern for a lot of reasons. So we track that on a regular basis. And you should feel free to contact me at any time with any questions you have about these statistics. They're very hard to assemble. We expect that by the end of this year, the end of 2021, the total amount transferred in pension risk transfer deals will exceed $200 billion. That's getting to be a very significant chunk of retirement assets. And our job is to keep track of what these insurance companies are doing, Prudential and others, to make sure that we are protected and that something doesn't happen down the road that could impair retirees' ability to collect their pension checks. Obviously, your pensions are very important to you, and we fight to protect your pensions. You should be proud to know that your organization has been at the forefront of pushing for answers. And we recently met with Prudential management to talk about what these transactions really mean for you as retirees. And we were assured that although they have sold off a number of retirement businesses, the pension risk transfer business is still the same management. It's being handled by the same people in the same place. And we were given assurances that nothing has changed. We did raise a lot of concerns about what it means after these businesses are sold off. Will they need to keep the same number of employees? Will they try and reduce their workforce? Will they provide the same level of service that they provided in the past? And we're in constant dialogue with Prudential to make sure that we keep them on the straight and narrow and that they give us honest answers to what they're doing with your pension assets. Obviously, this is very, very, very important stuff. But for now, we know that the business is happening in the same way it was happening before. The service levels are expected to be the same. As I said earlier, though, you will not get any sort of increases because once a pension is transferred into a group annuity contract, the amounts are fixed and determined. They cannot change by contract. So there will be no COLAs. And that is an unfortunate reality, but that's a question that comes up a lot. One of the important and exciting things that we've done over the past year is that the Association of BellTel Retirees has partnered with a new 501c4 called Retirees for Justice. And the key objectives of the Association of BellTel Retirees and Retirees for Justice is to try and amend ERISA to restore some of those teeth that have been kicked out over the years by a variety of court actions, and to lobby Congress to put in place the protections that were originally intended and to stop discrimination against retirees. We have already drafted an amendment to ERISA that we're going to take to Congress this year, and we hope that by next year, 2022, we'll have firm support, and hopefully we'll be able to enact some protections that would prevent discrimination against retirees and also add some protections to retirees in de-risking transactions. This is a really complicated area because ERISA governs the defined benefit plan, but once it's offloaded into a group annuity contract, ERISA no longer applies. However, we feel strongly that we can push the Department of Labor and we can push Congress to require that certain standards be more formally codified in ERISA. And we're seeing more and more transactions involving private equity funds taking over insurance assets. And this is an area of grave concern for me and for members of the association. And so we want to make sure that the funds that get involved in purchasing these assets are scrutinized so that the insurance companies that are writing the business don't find themselves short at the end of the day. Similarly, reinsurance has been used more and more to cover the risk that the insurers originally take on. And there's not really any fundamental problem with that if the reinsurer is well capitalized. But we've been finding more and more is insurers are using their own captive reinsurance entities to transfer risk. And the concerns that we express there is that those entities are not subject to the same regulations. They don't have the same capital requirements. They're allowed to count certain things as assets that regulated companies can't count as assets. And this is something that we're trying to shed a light on. It comes down to who's going to be responsible for your pension payments. Well, in the future right now for the Association of BellTel Retirees and for the Verizon retirees, Prudential is the sole entity that's going to be making your payments for the next several decades. And we want to make sure, not that we put pressure on Prudential, but that we have a dialogue with them, but they also know that we want to hold them accountable. And we want to be able to identify any risks that we see in the way their business is being run, so we can bring it to their attention, and so we can bring it to the attention of any regulator, so that we don't find out when it's too late to do anything about it, that the assets needed to cover those future liabilities are no longer there. So in addition to amending ERISA, as we discussed, we have also enacted on an ambitious legislative campaign at the state level. And to the extent that any of you have interest in participating and getting involved, we really welcome that. Our biggest successes have come when we've had members of the association as constituents reach out to members of the state legislature and ask them to propose legislation. We changed the law in Connecticut. We changed the law in Virginia. We have an active bill pending in New York, and we have bills pending in a number of other states, and we're pursuing even more, essentially to replace the protections that once existed under ERISA and no longer exist post pension risk transfer or de-risking. And this is an ongoing kind of effort that we've undertaken, and we really do need your support. The Association of BellTel has done great things, and its strengths comes from its numbers, its members, its volunteers. The board members are all volunteers. They work very, very hard, but they need more support. So if members can step up and participate on committees, or to offer to write to their state legislatures, or to participate in any way, that would really go a long way to help fight to protect earned benefits for retirees. a subject that I think is well worth fighting for. Retirees for Justice is committed to working with the Association of BellTel Retirees for a number of reasons. We're going to take on all of the lobbying responsibility. There are some limitations with the Association of BellTel Retirees as a 501c3, and we've addressed that painfully and painstakingly with auditors and come up with a system that allows Retirees for Justice to advocate for the same issues that the Association of BellTel Retirees are concerned about, but in a way that will protect the tax status, tax-free status of the association, allow it to thrive for another 25 years. You know, Retirees for Justice grew out of the same pioneering spirit that I learned from the Association of BellTel Retirees. I am absolutely proud to be associated with this group and looking forward to enacting positive change at the state and federal level so that we can protect earned benefits for retirees.